So, what I wanted to talk about today is, again, giving yourself permission to be epic. And this is part two. We talked about it a few days ago. And I want to go a little bit further into it. And I realize you're not supposed to use pink posts until October. Oh, I use them. Yeah. Yeah, I basically have to use it based on this. So, pretty soon I'll be into the yellow. Good morning, Char. What's going on? All right, so permission to be epic. The refuel is what this is called, and I'll tell you, one of the reasons I wanted to kind of go into this more and do a part two is because I found myself wanting to skip it, and basically that permission that Michelle is talking about in this book is basically the permission to self-care. So I want to talk a little bit more about that, and what I realized for myself is that the reason I wanted to skip it is because I think we all have been, but specifically I was taught to sacrifice myself from a very young age. And what I mean by that is my own self-care was always, not even secondary, but last thing that I should focus on. Right? I was brought up in kind of a religious household and in a very religious state, and everything was about self-sacrifice, what you could do for others in place of yourself. So I realized, yeah, it's considered selfish to take care of yourself. And so I've been having to root out that, and that's why I've been, really trying not to skip the stuff that, talking about self-care, I think made me kind of glaze over. Yeah, I'm supposed to take care of myself. But really, one of my main goals was to start getting into the health. And one of the problems I realized is I always put myself last when I'm thinking of what I'm going to do for the day. Right? Like I got to do business, got to take care of family, got to take care of other people, this kind of thing. And so that was why I was kind of trying to avoid this. So first I wanted to really quickly go over one of the main systems she talks about is the MAPS system. And basically that's meaning, awareness, permission, and strategy. And so she says meaning is, and this whole book is about exercise, but we can use this system or this strategy for all the behaviors we're trying to make into habits. So, and another really quick thing I wanted to mention is basically epic to me, what is able to, or what strategy or formula that's able to make your life epic starts with goals, and what I think can make goals actually happen and not be at a 10% success rate like I have for the last 20 years is habits. And then below the habits, we got to find ways to make behaviors become habits. Right. Yeah. Meaning, awareness, permission, and strategy. So here's what, and again, this is about exercise, but we're going to use it for everything. I'm going to say it the way she does, but she's talking about exercise. Your meaning for exercise creates your relationship with and approach to exercise, right? So we want to create the meaning. She talked about the right way. We talked about that a couple of days ago. She talked about the right way of creating meaning. So for instance, instead of thinking I got to go for a walk or I got to go exercise because I want the end goal of being healthy and being a certain weight or any of that stuff, instead you're supposed to switch the meaning to what benefit can you get today, like stress relief, or it refuels you to go on a walk, or this kind of thing. You're supposed to reframe it, I guess is the best way to say it, to be what you can actually get today, and then you'll sustain it longer, rather than going, well, I'm doing this hard stuff that I don't enjoy because maybe in a year I'll be fit. Which that's what she's saying with the research. She is a research scientist, and she says that's why it doesn't work the way most people do, not only their goals, but exercise goals in specific. Okay, so that's the meaning part. So we're going to go to the next one, which is, and I just wanted to give this as a brief overview for those of you who are new. So intangible. Yeah, when you're thinking, maybe in a year I'll be fit, and maybe in 20 years if I do this stuff today, I won't get heart disease or something. Like, oh my gosh, really? Yeah, we need immediate rewards, don't we? Yeah, and and that's one of the things I realized. A lot of my goals, I think the reason I wasn't achieving them is because they were always out there tomorrow goals. And some of the process, I had the meaning for whatever the process was to be painful. So another one was being able to start writing more. And the meaning of that was it was a pain, it was an absolute chore. And she talked about the meaning is you want to switch that and find a meaning that actually makes you enjoy it today. So for me, the writing became like this joyous self-expression, like my ability, my enjoyment of getting what I just learned down on paper, so to speak, right? Like changing that meaning. So that's one of them. Hey, UK, what's up? Windsor, Windsor, right? Okay, so the second one is awareness. Awareness helps you identify what's been standing in your way and discover physical activities that motivate you, right? Detroit, yeah, welcome. Yeah, I got so excited. I just skipped right past where you guys from. Montreal. It's so crazy because, like, how crazy is it? We're all over the world, and now you're just sitting here in my office and we're chatting. Nashville. Hey, Eric. What's going on? Tulsa. That's amazing. Newfoundland. Yo, what's up? Yeah, this is sweet. I love it. Motivating activities. Yes, it's cool. Okay, so yeah, we want to be able to find what's been in the way and discover, activities that actually motivate you. Greensboro, Iowa, oh my gosh, Minneapolis. So crazy. Yeah, welcome. So, God, lots, Arizona. I'm in Salt Lake City as of now, Michigan. So we're kind of all over the world already. It's awesome that you guys are with me on a Saturday morning. Pretty early for some, pretty early for me in the old days. I used to stay up to about 2 or 3, get up 10 or 11. Now I'm going to bed about 9:30 and getting up at 5. So I've been up for hours already, prepping and getting ready for this and just thinking about what I've been reading on this. And anyway, for those of you who've just come in, we're going to talk about the epic mindset, like giving yourself permission to be epic. So that's where we're doing a little review of from this book. She talks about the MAP system. We're actually on the awareness, 3 p.m. UK time. Yeah, not early for you at all. So we talk about awareness, and then the next one is permission, and this is the one I almost skipped. So she says, giving yourself permission to prioritize your own self-care, to feel better every day, provides the fuel for your daily roles and goals and powers your sense of well-being. So the interesting part of the whole self-care stuff, let me see if I've got it written right here somewhere. The self-care is really about well-being and providing yourself fuel. So if I think about exercise, and one of my keystone habit, or the keystone habit I have right now is getting into health. If we think about the exercise we're doing as something that's supposed to refuel us, then we can make decisions on what actual activities we can do to make that happen. And thanks so much for the hearts, guys. So for me, I found that going for a walk multiple times a day, when I come back, I'm actually more like, it's a little bit of a stress relief. I used to listen to stuff all the time. Let's see, I don't have my little headphones. Here's my old headphones. I've got these wireless headphones that I can't even feel. I forget that they're in my ears, and I'm always listening to stuff. But now when I go on these walks, I actually just let my mind wander about stuff I've been reading or stuff I'm learning or whatever's next for me. And I come back completely recharged and excited no matter what time of day it is. Like even if I do it at night, I come back and go, oh man, now I'm all awake. So I have to do it a little bit away from going to sleep because it recharges. Right, so that's part of the whole idea behind self-care is recharging. So anyway, and then strategy is the last one. So that's permission. The permission's all about self-care, really, so that we can be prepared to do all the awesome things we want to do, whether it is actually taking care of family and striving and actually taking action for the goals that we want to do. It's funny because now that's the reason I started going into it deeper is because I go, oh, wow, to even be able to start doing the behavior or the tiny habits that lead to the habits we want to create so that we can get our goals, we have to start with ourselves, right? Like it completely makes perfect sense. But actually getting around to doing it and not skipping it like I almost did is the key to that, right? So and then the last one in the MAPS system is strategy. Use learning and negotiation strategies to sustain a lifelong gift of physical activity. And I'll be going into that later. I haven't read that part. I listen to the IBM podcast on my walk. Well, thank you. Yeah, I do the Internet Business Mastery podcast, which is, we've been #1 for 10 years in internet business. If you want to check that out. And by the way, before I really dive into it, if you're new and you want to follow me, I talk more about this kind of stuff. I talk about internet business, and I'm going to be talking all about Periscope as well. All you got to do is click the little Perry person, and you can follow me. Click the plus, the add little circle next to my name, and boom, you can follow me. And by the way, I saw something really cool as a little Periscope side note, and this is just how my mind works. I have to go on little tangents. Yesterday I saw we're going to be able to put, oh yeah, thanks Hutch. Heart attack. Really, to give hearts, all you got to do is tap the screen, and you can tap it like 500 times, and it all together in one particular scope, and it'll give me 500 hearts. That's pretty, and that's basically the heart system, as far as I can see, is just letting me know you're enjoying what. Yeah, get me up to 1K, 100K actually. Yeah, that would be absolutely awesome. I've got the little challenge going with my business partner, Jason Van Orden, and I'm about 20,000 hearts ahead of him already. So let's keep going. But anyway, one of the cool Periscope things I saw that is coming is, as a scoper, as the person doing the broadcast, I'll be able to make it so on your screen, you'll see a little follow me. And you can just click it right on the screen. That's something that's coming, as well as share. I can select something, and then a little share thing will come up in the comments, and you can share it with your people if you think they'll find it valuable. That's something that's in beta testing right now. Really, really cool. I'm excited for that to come. But anyway, okay, so let's get started. All of that was just preamble to actually get started. Yeah, that's the one thing missing. I've got to actually tell you to go take the action, and a lot of people are like, I don't know what he's talking about, or I don't know what to do. And that'll be awesome to be able to just pop that up. Yeah, it's old school to have to explain it, right? Okay, so let's go back to permission. Okay, so here's some of the stuff that she said. The first step is to get inside your mindset and surface the beliefs and attitudes that are preventing you from prioritizing your daily energy level and sense of well-being. So those are the two things, energy and well-being. Those are the things that we want to do with, this self-care stuff, or that's kind of like the definition of self-care. And that changed it for me. Like, to be able to do all the other cool things, I need to take care of myself first. It's just like the analogy of when you're on an airplane, they say to put if the air masks come down, you're supposed to put the oxygen mask on yourself, then on the other person, so you don't pass out in the middle of trying to put it on somebody else, right? So to be able to really do what we talk about in the internet business stuff and create massive value for other people, we got to do that for ourselves first, right? Hey, what's up, Carolina? All right, so that's what we're going for with this self-care. It's not some kind of, woo-woo thing particularly. It's being able to up our energy levels and sense of well-being. And then here's the other part. You're no help to someone else if you're unconscious. Right. Yeah, that's the entire point. And, I found that by the mid-afternoon, because I wasn't taking care of myself, I would start getting tired and just like low energy. And then all the other stuff I wanted to do for the whole rest of the day, it would be like, maybe let's watch a rerun, or I don't even know what to call it now, a replay of The Walking Dead or something. And I would start going down that thing because I hadn't taken care of myself. Don't mean to change the subject, but are you going to scope your podcast recordings? I am, actually. We're going to do that. That'll be kind of the business. Hey, from Trinidad in the Caribbean. That is awesome. That's so cool. Actually, I think you're the first person that's I've ever talked to that is there, whether on Scope or any of the other things that we do. Good luck, bro. Awesome. All right, so let's keep going. That's because our mindset is powerful. It determines how we perceive everything. Remember, we talked about meaning in one of the other scopes, that we actually are creating the meaning for things, and a lot of that meaning had been created for us, right? So if in the past, whether it's our parents or society in general or religion or whatever it was, created a meaning that you had to always come second or last, right? And we can take control of that. I mean, it's, to be epic, it's redefining what things are and making it be the way that you actually completely and fully have a heroic life, one that you define that way. So it determines how we perceive everything, guiding our behavior and creating our priorities for how we spend our time. Right? So then she goes into this thing, and we talked about this the other day. So these are the self-care hierarchy. And she shows an example. Can you guys see that okay? She shows an example of her and her husband. And basically, this hierarchy is basically kind of your top four for what needs to happen, right? The way she says it is the non-negotiable self-care behavior. Without this, my day is not likely to go well, right? And for her husband, he's got physical activity, right? Like he has to go on a run or whatever it is. That's what makes his day start off right. And for her, it's so funny, it's not totally focused. It's sleep is the first one. And all right, so I actually created mine. And by the way, I made a blank one so that we can do this. And if you guys want this triangle, I'm going to put it up in the scope notes. I make scope notes for these when I do the replay. And I do that in my Facebook group. And all you got to do is go into Facebook and do their search and do Epic Life Quest. And mine's the top, it's the only one for Epic Life Quest. And I'll put the notes, right? I'll put those notes. Just one second here. I'll put them up there so you guys can download it. And let me show you, I'll show you what mine is. So that's the key. She's got a whole thing, like I absolutely get that book. She's got a whole thing on how to find what basically your top four are. Yeah, scope notes, something I just kind of came up with. It's just the same as on the podcast, we do show notes. And I wanted to be able to, all the stuff I talk about, put links to it. And if I have something that I've created for you guys to use, we can have downloads and stuff like that. And all of that is going to be in the Facebook group. Yeah, I'll watch the replay. That's awesome. Yeah, and I put the replays and just a bunch of other stuff that I'm finding in that Facebook group called Epic Life Quest. Coined by Jeremy Franson. Yes, Epic Life Quest on Facebook. All right, so I'm going to show you on the screen in just a second. Last IBM podcast is on Periscope. I kept wanting to make comments while listening. I know, now it's weird. And I guess when we do the podcast, that's what we're going to have to do. In between our segments, I'll look to the camera and like ask questions. Hey, do you guys have any questions? Let's talk while we're prepping for the next segment. That would be awesome. Okay, so here we go. Let's see if I can get this to work. Take just a second here, guys, and I'm going to just show you. So here's the blank one. Well, it's going. Trying to make it do its thing. So there's the blank one. I'm going to put that up, and here's the one I created for me. So I did the activities. Thanks again for the hearts. So I did the activities that she said to do, and I found out that the very core of what makes it so I can have that amazing, let's say, epic day is I have to at least get 7 hours of sleep. If I don't get 7 hours of sleep, then I have a lot of problems. Then I start skipping things. My willpower, we talked about the willpower book. My willpower goes down, and then all the rest of the things on top of this pyramid start having less value to me. Like I'm able to do it far less. So next is learning. Basically in the morning now, if it's under 7 hours, and really I'm trying to target 7.5 hours. If it's under 7 hours, I try and go back to bed. Because if I get up and I start doing my learning and I'm tired, like I'm not retaining the information better. And then next I'm finding that moving, that's the next thing I have to do. So I'm doing a walk in the morning, and I started finding out that as part of other parts of my trying to create that keystone habit of health, all my tiny habits, which include push-ups and all that kind of stuff, I really love doing that. And I found that doing, what is it called? Just the physical weightlifting I'm really enjoying. So I've been adding that. And each day you need super learning music. Yeah, for whatever reason, music doesn't do a whole lot for me. So you got to really find the thing that works for you. And then at the top of my list is idea exchange. And really that's chatting. Doing what I'm doing right now is basically what I do with all my friends. Right? I go, oh my God, here's the 20 things I just learned in the last week since we last talked. But my desire to do that more is a lot less. Again, if I haven't done my learning, done my sleep, done my moving, all that kind of stuff. So this is, she says, to test this. So if your end goal is to, again, create that energy. All right. So if that end goal is to, create energy and that well-being, that sense of well-being, that's what we're trying to do. This hierarchy is find the actual four that really are the base of having the energy to do all your amazing things during the day. All right. So actually, there's one more thing I was going to say. So again, I'm just like rambling on. This is just the stuff that I just learned, and very music that puts your mind in the learning mindset. A 4-4 beat. Yeah, I've actually tried that before. I've heard that before, and it doesn't. I need complete quiet for me to really be able to put information in my mind. So for other people, it's really about finding, what works for you, right? So inside her book, you need hypnosis. Yeah, me too. I need total quiet. So she talks about read the list below. Check the experiences you need more of to get in place for well-being. And, do you guys want me to read? There's just a few of them. The things that she says we're trying to get at the end of doing this self-care stuff. Go for it. Okay, you guys want to hear it? So here's some of them. So here's the end goal for doing the self-care hierarchy. I'm sitting cross-legged again. All right, that's how it has to be. Okay, so less stress, strong, in a better mood, competent, powerful, centered, inspired, more meaning, autonomous, less anxious, joyful, relaxed, more fun, proud of myself, creative, loved, engaged, curious, more vitality, and self-worth. And then she says, write other ones that you're trying to get from this, right? And so that's one of the things that we're trying to get more of, right? And so right now, wherever you happen to be now, she says you might be creating these hierarchies at different times. They might be a little bit different, what the list is, right? So what's of some of those I said, like less stress, loved, creative, more powerful, centered, inspired. What are some of the ones that you would want this hierarchy, being able to do these, let's say 4 top things, what would you want more of? And while you take time to type it in, I'll tell you the couple that I'm trying to focus on right now. And that is inspired, curious, and more vitality. Right? Like that is what I'm doing with the sleep, the learning, the moving, and the idea exchange. Right? Yeah, sleep definitely helps me have that more curiosity, because that's at the key of the learning stuff for me, is that deep sense of curiosity. What's next? What do I want to learn next? What's going to help me achieve the goals? Less stressed. Right. And for me, that's where the exercise, even going on a walk or the weightlifting or the push-ups or the other things that I'm doing, trying to create those behaviors into habits, those reduce my stress as well. One of the other things I found for sleep is whenever I go to the gym and I go through the hot tub and the steam room, I could probably go right to sleep. And I've been doing that at like 2 p.m, and it throws off the rest of my day. So yeah, problem is I loathe exercise. That's literally what this book is about. And she talks about finding the stuff that actually works, that you enjoy, rather than going, oh, I've got to do 20 minutes on a treadmill as fast as possible. She says that's absolutely the wrong way to do it. Jeremy, focused, relaxed, and positive. Awesome, Daniel. Yeah, so that is basically the mindset. You're trying to get that as a result of doing this self-care hierarchy. Creative, productive, connecting with like-minded others. Awesome, Judy, sorry. Yeah, that is awesome. So, so there you go. That's where I'm at right now. That is why I created this and kept going to it, because again, it was that mindset of I shouldn't put my self-care needs above everybody else, and instead going, okay, that is going to be what I start on every day. Like we've talked about in the past, how I try and frame my day right when I wake up, of going, okay, I'm awake, I'm alive, check, start one, I'm alive. Next, I plan on staying alive. The part of it that I'm in control of, yes, I'm going to do that. Why not choose Epic? Right? And from that moment that I want to choose Epic, the whole entire goal then is doing everything that it takes to make it so that I can have my definition of Epic. Which again, yeah, for you first, otherwise you can't serve others. Yeah, I mean, it's so obvious, but that is absolutely not what we're taught, right? So again, to be able to have Epic, we got to be able to make those goals happen. To make the goals happen, we've got to be able to have habits that actually make those goals happen. And then to make the habits happen, we have to have things in place like tiny habits and willpower and something like this, being able to take care of that self-care first to even be able to make all the rest happen, right? So anyway, there you go. Especially difficult for women. Yeah, I think that's really interesting. I think both men and women have different roles as to what they're supposed to do. Like, I think part of the whole men thing, and she actually talks about this in this book, is the men thing is well, I can't talk about self-care things because I got to go make the money and I got to take care of my family in this very specific way. I've got to go work really, really hard. I have to show my achievements out. Ooh, I work for this great business and I work really, really hard, and I work 12 hours a day and I do all this stuff. And that's how the men do it, and women have that plus, all these other ones as well. I mean, there's just all these things that get in the way of us being able to take care of ourselves and have that self-care. And it's so funny because it seems like a catch-22, because the goal of this self-care stuff is for well-being, so we can do all those cool things and the energy to do all these things. Daniel says, my morning walk is my keystone habit that sets me up for success throughout the day. Yeah, that's the thing that is giving you that energy, I suppose, right? The energy and well-being, because that's what it's doing for me right now, right? Is that same thing. It completely sets me up. Like, even though I slept well this morning, I was really tired when I got up. Boom, I go on my walk. I've got this park that I go around, and I got the mountains, and it's just all trees. And I come back and I'm completely energized, completely ready. I forgot that I was tired. Yeah, I actually exercise while watching Jeremy Scopes. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Here, I'll help you. Just tell me when you're ready to start again, right? So, yeah, I'm about to get on the treadmill while watching Inspiration. What are you going to watch? Thanks again for the hearts, guys. Again, that's just tapping. If you're new, definitely follow me. Just click the little Perry guy, and you can click the little plus sign next to my name. We're going to talk more about this. It's not just going to be about habits. It's going to be about everything I'm finding that's epic. Yeah, you're watching me. That's funny. Yeah, I got plenty of replays now, I'll tell you that. And definitely check out my Facebook group if you haven't. Epic Life Quest. All you got to do is type in Epic Life Quest. And I'm going to put what I showed you a little bit earlier. I'm going to put that blank self-care hierarchy sheet up for you guys, so you can take it, print it out, and write yours down. All right? Right now on the treadmill. Awesome. Gosh, if the treadmill really worked. Like, I've got a treadmill desk. Let me see if I can show it to you here. I do that sometimes. There you go. There's the treadmill desk. I got my monitors and all that stuff up there. I generally only use that in the winter when I can't go outside and do my walk. So that is what I use then. And I love that thing. I've had that for a couple of years now. But anyway, all right, any other questions about what we talked about? Again, love to see you in the Facebook group. I'm going to post some stuff now, right when we get done. And tomorrow I'm actually going to, Sunday morning, I think, I might even do it Sunday late afternoon. I talk about more of the business side of things, what's happened with doing this periscoping. Tomorrow is my week 3 on Periscope. and it's been about 3.5 weeks since I even really knew what Periscope was. Absolutely love it. So I give all my stats and all the tips that I found from the last week. If you want to do that. Do you listen to audio on your walks? I used to. Actually, all I used to do is listen to audio. But in the morning now, what I'm doing is I'm actually prepping for this. So before I go on my walk, I actually read. I'm reading 3 to 5 books a week right now. So yeah, I used to. For years and years and years, all I did was listen to whether it was podcasts or audiobooks or whatever. But now it's more about prepping for this. Whatever I just read, I start working through what I want to talk about and what I think is really interesting about what I just read. Thanks, good to know. Yeah, and like the next thing I'm going into is memory. I've got a couple of books on memory as well as photographic memory, because I would love to be able to work through this book and then it's in here. It's just in here from now on. I can exactly say everything. So that's kind of the next direction I'm going. I'm still working on the habit stuff, but you know, anything that seems to me like super epic, that's what I'm going to start talking about here, and just kind of like throw out and teach the stuff that I'm learning or that I'm actually doing. And really, the Facebook group is going to be the companion to this, because that's where all the other stuff, whether it be videos or links to different things that I found that have worked for me, that's where I'm going to put it all. I listen to podcasts, audiobooks. VibraVox is great, free for old classics. Yeah, that's awesome. I mostly do Audible. I buy, they have like a 20 book thing you can buy for the whole year. And if you don't like the book, you can return it, even though it's audio. So that's really cool. So if the book is just horrible and I don't finish it, which I'm really, really trying to do now, is not finish a book just because I'm reading a book. It's very awesome. Jeremy, do you feel the podcast wasn't the space to talk about epic life? No, because the podcast was very, very specifically targeted. Internet Business Mastery is targeted to beginners. Like that was part of both Jason and my SMP, our single motivating purpose, was to help beginners start finding that financial freedom. Yes, I love Audible too. So that's what the podcast was, and this is kind of the more direction. This is the thing I've actually wanted to do since I was like 19, is talk about all this epic stuff I'm reading. You know, I've been showing how I've been building this library. I think last month I bought 72 books is what it ended up totally being, and read about 14 of them, 12 to 14. I can't remember. Hey, Sherry from Boston, we're just about done. I can actually mention again, here's the book. What were you saying about not finishing an audiobook? Okay, I'll go back to that. Here's the book I've been talking about. Even though it happens to be about exercise and stuff, the skills and the tools in this book can be used for all of behavior creation. Absolutely amazing. It's a great book. But what I do with the Audible is, if I'm not liking something, see, another mindset I had was, if I bought a book, I got to read every single word and I got to finish it. Right? And even if I'm not particularly liking it, whether I'm reading it or whether I'm listening to it, I just felt I had to finish it. And how crazy is that? So I was getting through books. Hey, Krista from Toronto. All right, Canada is now represented. Thanks. We're just about finishing up, but anyway, so now I don't do that at all. If I don't like the book right away and I'm not getting value from the book, I end it. I consider it finished. I've been studying for years about how to live life to the fullest. Epic life seems parallel. Absolutely, and that's what I've been doing. That's exactly, to me, the epic life stuff is just my curation of all of that knowledge after finding so many things that are crap. Like, just ideas and stuff that are all complete bullshit stuff, right? Like, and I got tired of that, and with my friends, we all talk about all this stuff we're reading, what not to read. Do not read this book; it's a complete waste of time. All the way up to, this is like the most amazing thing I've read this year or this month or whatever. Dom from Connecticut, right? All right, so, and that's what I wanted to do with this epic life stuff. I want to curate all this information, have a chance to be able to chat with you, even possibly on a daily basis, about the coolest stuff that I'm finding out there. Love seeing the emotion. Yeah, this is mostly what I am almost all the time, and this is how I am again when I'm just sitting there chatting with friends. I'm like going, "Oh my god, this is crazy good," or I just read that book that everybody's talking about it and it's total crap. You know what I mean? Like complete waste of time. The guy's woo woo blah whatever. So that's particularly what this is. So anyway, any other questions? So what you were saying about the podcast? Yeah, the podcast is definitely more centered on the freedom, the financial freedom mark. Like I talked about maybe a week and a half ago. I talked about oh, is that my heart count right now? 94,000. Awesome. Yeah, hopefully by next week I'll hit that 100,000 mark. So I'll hit 100,000 hopefully hearts in my first month of doing this Periscope stuff. And part of this I'll tell you is scoping a lot. Like I've last week I think I scoped 7 times. Now that wasn't every day. There were a couple of times when I scoped twice in a day, and that's one of the keys. And hopefully, it really means that I'm giving value. That's literally how I'm thinking of it. Thanks, Hutch. Is I'm trying to give as much value as I possibly can, and that's what the hearts are representing. But I absolutely love doing it this way. I talked about what I broke down an epic life as one of the key components to an epic life is the component of freedom. And so Internet Business Mastery, I had the whole epic life stuff in my head even when Jason and I started the Internet Business Mastery podcast 10 years ago. And before everything that had happened from it, before we'd ever made our first dollar, before we'd ever made our first million, before we had got into the multi-millions, I had this whole epic life thing, and it was all based on freedom. So to me, the podcast was about really trying to help other people achieve the financial freedom on that freedom chart. I'll check out more. Awesome. Yeah. And this is going to be about all the other categories. I'll probably keep Internet Business Mastery as that's one of the main ways that I talk about the financial freedom. But there's also the mental freedom, emotional freedom, physical freedom. What else is there? Relationship freedom, all the way up to political freedom, which I probably won't talk too much about. Considering myself 1%. Hearts for you, yeah. Nice. Thank you so much for adding all, tapping the screen and giving all those hearts. I see you go out and come back in. I imagine that's because of how many. I love that you acknowledge everybody in your scope. Yeah, Carolina, I'm saying it right, correct? Yeah, I try and do that as much as possible. Because to me, actually, one of the parts of this that is the most enjoyable for me is the engagement. So I'm trying to add more questions and stuff while we go throughout, but sometimes I get too excited and I have to go on my rant and then come back from that passion excitement and go, okay, now we're here. Hey Scott, now we're here. Let's start connecting again. Carolina. Oh, okay, Carolina. Awesome. I'll try and remember that. All right, Carolina. Social currency, appreciate what you do. Awesome, Hutch. That's awesome. It's in Spanish, Carolina. Yes, I love the interaction versus just a broadcast. Yeah, it's hard not to just do a broadcast because that's what I'm used to. That's what the podcasts are. Whenever we make our videos, we just finished a whole free video series for the Internet Business Mastery stuff. And again, that's just direct teaching. There's no interaction, and I'm trying to make this more of a back and forth without hey, thanks so much about the epic scopes, without the hokey stuff. Some of the stuff that I don't like is, I don't know. There's stuff where I see people going, type the word cucumber if you're liking what I'm saying. That's not really me. I really, again, just want this to mostly be our connection, talking about the epic stuff and that kind of thing. And I am going to, I just was going to mention too, when I listed all the different kind of freedoms or whatever out, I am going to talk about financial freedom in here. I'm going to talk about business and kind of this new theory I have about using Periscope for business. I'm going to start talking about that maybe once or twice a week as well. Actually, Jason and I are both testing a whole bunch of stuff with this and Facebook groups. And that's why I was saying, if you're not in my Facebook group yet, at the very least, go check it out to see what I'm doing, what Jason and I are kind of figuring out about this Periscope, and take it to the highest level. Yes, type the words. Seems funny. Yeah, type the words in Facebook, Epic Life Quest, and you can join my Facebook group. Are you planning on scoping at 8 a.m. always? Almost always. Like, I'll tell you, yesterday I didn't, because that was when I started learning about this self-care, and I was starting to feel rushed. I got up a little bit later, and I wasn't going to be able to go do my walk if I did the scope, and I wanted to go get that because I had so much stuff to do. Again, we're in the middle of a business launch, and I wanted to be really refreshed for the whole rest of the day, so I skipped it. And in the my Facebook group, I talked about the fact that I was skipping it, and I was actually trying to implement the self-care stuff, trying to put the fact that I needed that energizing walk for the whole rest of my day. Yeah, I consider that, but what I use is my iPad, and I didn't buy the one that has what is it? It just has Wi-Fi or whatever. It can't connect to the internet, whatever that's called. See, this is how techie I am. So, and I guess I'm going to next month, I'm going to be getting the new iPhone. I still have a 4S. And look at this thing. This thing's falling apart because I'm not a tech person, or I'm not all into tech and stuff like that. But I'm going to get whatever the new one is, whether it's the iPhone 7 or 6 plus, whatever it happens to be. Dude, use an iPhone. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. But this old 4S, I've tried to scope on it, and it's terrible. It looks terrible, and I imagine walking around the park, it would look so bad and probably cut out because it's an older one. So as soon as I get the new one, I'll be able to do that. I'll be able to do the go for a walk in the park and just chit chat. Plus, I'm trying to have a formula for this. I'm trying to have a lot that we're going to talk about, and I write out an outline before we get started. And I guess sometimes maybe I won't do that. I'll just go off the cuff based on what I was learning. September 9 is when the new iPhones will be announced. Yes. When I went in and bought this iPad, so I bought this iPad 2 Air or Air 2, whatever it is. That's what they were saying, that early in September, so in a week or so. Found you on Facebook, but Epic Life Quest isn't under your groups. Yeah, all you have to do in search is type in Epic Life Quest, and that group will pop up. I actually signed out and created a new profile just to go in and see what actually happened. So just up in the search, Epic Life Quest. I actually made a bit.ly link for it too, if you want me to tell you what that is. It'll just take me just a second to find it here. Do you know what the bit.ly link thing is? So it's bit.ly/Epic Life Quest. I don't have my little thing right here with me. Scope off the cuff often when you get the iPhone. Yeah, that's what I'll try and do, because right now I'm trying to go into kind of I'm going in a chronological sort of bit.ly. There we go. Daniel's got it. Oh, not Butly. Bitly. There we go, Nikki. Nikki's got it. Haha, there you go. Yeah, bit.ly/Epic Life Quest. That is the Facebook group. All right. So, but yeah, I've been kind of going in order because I'm actually trying to figure out some of this stuff myself, including I want to make these habits work so that I can make my goals work to help create more of an epic life, right? So I keep digging further. I was learning about creating habits. They talked about willpower. Okay, got to read the willpower book, right? Fat fingers, sorry, and bad eyes. Oh, bummer. Close, though, but thank you for typing it in. So I've been going kind of in order, but I'm also going to be kind of just all over the place as well when I learn about new stuff and other epic areas and realms and that kind of stuff. And at some point I'll have a website about all of this and stuff as well. But for right now, everything's about the Facebook group. Just joined. Okay, yeah, actually just about to leave. Everything I was talking about today really comes from this book right here, Michelle Seeger, No Sweat. All right, Breaking a Sweat. Oh yeah, Hutch is on the treadmill. Awesome. And again, thank you for the hearts. Okay, so I put this book up. So what we were talking about, she talks about the MAPS system, which is meaning, awareness, permission, and strategy. And today we were talking about permission for self-care. And I talked about how I almost skipped it because of just the socialization we have about not taking care of ourselves, putting everybody first, basically. Um, uh, you always come second. You got to take care of your family first, take care of business first. You got to do all of this stuff first. I always give myself permission for self-care. Terry, that is awesome. I'm having to figure out how to do that because I don't do it that way. I'm trying to create so much value and I'm trying to do all this stuff, take care of my kids, do all of these things that I end up coming second. So self-care is a big thing. And self-care, she talked about, is defined about, being able to refuel your energy as well as well-being. So that's mostly what we talked about. You owe it to your future self. I'm a better wife, mom, and business owner because of it. Yes, and that is the whole key behind what she was talking about with this self-care was once you take care of yourself like that in the beginning and figure out what all of those things are that actually helps you take care of yourself, then you can be better at all of those things. Whereas I was kind of thinking of it as, oh, well, I'll take care of myself as kind of a reward for doing all the other stuff, right? Like the whole altruism stuff I got to do for everybody else. And then if there's anything left over, I'll do it for myself. So the self-care stuff is in No Sweat. Yeah, I know. It's funny because it seems like just simply an exercise book, but really this is a book about all the stuff that helps you make habits work. And that's why I'm talking about it and it's helping. It just so happens that my keystone habit is about exercise. So it was useful for me that way, but it's also about, being able to formulate your habits and your behaviors that become habits better. All right. All right. So there you go, guys. I guess I'll let you go. Holy wow. We did 50 minutes today. We need to take ourselves off the back burner, get our cups filled so we can give from overflow. I completely agree. And that's the whole point about what we were talking about today. You recapped it for me, Terry. Thank you. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Check out the group. I'll be reposting the replay in the group or, if you happen to already be following me, as well as my scope notes and talking tomorrow more about business. We'll talk. Thank you so much, you guys, for coming in. Thank you for all the hearts. Definitely make sure to follow. I'm going to have more about this Epic Life stuff, business and Periscope. All of that we're going to be talking about. Not going to just focus on one thing, although my mornings will probably be more this Epic stuff. So there you go. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for staying and hanging around for those of you who did. 17 minutes on the treadmill. Nice job, Hutch. Talk to you guys tomorrow.